China's J-20 and J-35 stealth fighters have one massive advantage over the US Air Force. China is rapidly expanding its J-20 and J-35 stealth fleets, raising fears that US and allied air power could be outnumbered over the Indo-Pacific. China has produced more than 57 J-35 thus far. Current estimates indicate an annual output of 70 to 100 units. However, other production estimates for the J-20 are expected to maintain a rate of 100 to 120 aircraft per year. This has set off alarm bells across the oceans as aviation analysts worry that the US and our allies won't be able to match stealth aircraft against the Chinese. China's carrier-capable J-35 stealth fighter is drawing attention not just for its appearance on the deck of the Fujian, but for how closely it mimics the US F-35. A sleek, blended wing body, varied engines, diverterless supersonic inlets, and smooth tail surfaces all point to a design optimized to shrink radar cross-section. Chinese media even claim it's comparable to a sparrow or a human palm. But true stealth is more than shaping. Thermal management, engine integration, and advanced radar-absorbent materials will determine whether the J-35 is merely an external copycat or a genuine peer to America's fifth-generation fighters. China's J-35 might be a threat to the US Air Force. A few months back, the People's Republic of China teased yet another glimpse of its anticipated fifth-generation fighter jet. A photograph of the front end of China's carrier-launched fifth-generation stealth fighter, the J-35, published in the People's Republic of China PRC government-backed Global Times newspaper, shows a fighter that is almost indistinguishable from the United States F-35. What is significant, however, is the potential accuracy of recent comments in the Chinese state media that the J-35 radar cross-section is comparable to that of a sparrow or a human palm. The photo in the People's Republic of China PRC newspaper shows the J-35 on the deck of China's famous and recently launched Fujian aircraft carrier, and the front end of the aircraft very closely resembles the front third of a US Navy F-35C. The J-35 certainly appears stealthy, as its nose radome and canopy are rounded and blended into a smooth surface designed to generate little or no return signal to ground-based radar systems. The front of the F-35 appears slightly larger and more angled than that of the J-35, however, the front nose radome and radar sections of both aircraft look nearly identical. J-35, smooth, blended wingbody. Interestingly, much of the remaining portions of the J-35 seem to resemble those of an F-22, given that there are two smooth, rounded horizontal tails and a rounded dual-engine fuselage and exhaust area. Overall, the J-35 appears smooth, sleek, rounded, and blended, giving it great stealth potential. The absence of angled vertical structures, in particular, is by design intended to prevent electromagnetic pings from ground radar from having defined shapes and contours to bounce off of and generate a return signal or rendering. Therefore, a quick examination of the external configuration of the J-35 would seem to indicate that the People's Republic of China PRC comments about its low radar cross-section may hold validity. Overall, the J-35 fuselage appears sleek, smooth, and stealthy, as it seems more purely horizontal than most fifth-generation aircraft. A somewhat horizontal, blended wingbody configuration for a fighter jet begins to approach a bomber-like advanced stealth, characterized by the absence of vertical or protruding structures. The J-35 features F-35-like tails protruding from the back for vectoring. It appears to utilize F-35-like fuselage-aligned divertless supersonic inlet air intakes, designed to redirect slow-moving air from the engine and effectively shield or hide the engine fan from enemy radar. More than external configuration, stealth effectiveness depends on much more than external configuration, as it consists of a host of variables, including thermal management, radar-absorbent materials, engine placement, and temperature. The closer the temperature of a stealth aircraft is to that of the surrounding atmosphere, the stealthier it becomes. Such a signature leaves no margin of difference for infrared sensors to detect. Thermal management is critical, as stealth aircraft are specifically engineered to emit very little heat, which is challenging given the engine thrust required to achieve speeds of Mach 2 or greater. Some aircraft are known to use IR suppressors, essentially technologies designed to minimize or dissipate and decrease heat coming from an aircraft. This is also a reason why stealth aircraft have internally buried engines, as engines are, of course, great sources of heat. Fifth-generation fighter jets are equipped with specialized cooling liquids and technologies designed to prevent the aircraft's avionics and electronics from generating excessive heat. Coating materials are also critical, as advanced stealth aircraft are known to be built with highly specialized radar-absorbent materials designed to absorb electromagnetic pings and not simply bounce them back to enable ground radar to develop a rendering of the aircraft. China's J-20 and J-35 stealth fighters have one massive advantage over the US Air Force. China is rapidly expanding its J-20 and J-35 stealth fleets, raising fears that US and allied air power could be outnumbered over the Indo-Pacific. The J-20 brings long reach, growing super cruise performance, and heavy missile loads, while the carrier-capable J-35 targets US ships and regional bases. Yet Washington and its partners still field a deeper, more mature fifth-generation ecosystem built around the F-22, more than 1,000 F-35 and upcoming sixth-generation platforms. With Japan, South Korea, Australia, and Singapore all buying F-35 and training alongside US forces, pilot quality, networking, and numbers still favor the alliance for now. The Chinese have been producing J-20 and J-35 stealth aircraft in increasing numbers. The Chinese just celebrated the Chengdu J-20 Mighty Dragon historic milestone with over 300 stealth fighters now in PLA Air Force service, marking the largest fifth-generation fleet outside the United States and redefining the air power balance across the Indo-Pacific. China has produced more than 57 J-35 thus far. Current estimates indicate an annual output of 70 to 100 units, however, other production estimates for the J-20 are expected to maintain a rate of 100 to 120 aircraft per year. This has set off alarm bells across the oceans as aviation analysts worry that the US and our allies won't be able to match stealth aircraft against the Chinese. China's numbers are rapidly growing and should not be discounted.